All right, we're going to take a look at a tool called Searchsploit. If you're not familiar with it, what Searchsploit is it's a command line utility for exploit DB or the exploit database. So it allows you to search for exploits, perform exploit hunting, if you will, and download those exploits to your system. Or I'm sorry, sometimes my mouth moves a little faster than my brain. It does not download anything. All these exploits are already on your system when you install Searchsploit. It allows you to copy them from a local repository on your system into your current working directory. So I apologize. I use the term download sometimes a little too gratuitously, and yeah, that's not what you're doing here. So let me just make that clear. You're not downloading anything with this tool. All of these exploits exist in a repository on your system, and all you're doing is copying them into your current working directory. So let's see how we use this. So let's say I have gained a foothold onto a Linux system, and I discovered that the kernel is version 4.5. Oh, it would help if I could spell. Okay, so I'm searching the exploit database for Linux kernel version 4.5, but I want to get more specific. I've already gotten a foothold. I now want privilege escalation. I want to elevate my privileges and take over the system. So let's throw that in there. All right, let's take a look and see what we find here. So here we've got a number of potential exploits we could use in this scenario. And what I want to do is I want to show you a switch that would help filter some of the useless results out. So in a scenario where maybe you get 100 results and you want to, fine tune it a little bit more because it's a lot to go through, you want to kind of filter things out. So you're going to use exclude here. So, and for this example, I'm going to exclude. Okay, there are a number of Fedora results here. I'm going to exclude Fedora. Let's say we're not worried about Fedora. We know that we're not up against a Fedora uh, distro. So I'm going to run this again with the exclusion of Fedora. And as you can see, it fine-tuned my results a little further. So Fedora is no longer there. So I advise you to check the help file, really learn how to use this. You can really tailor your searches. You could search specifically for title, words in the title, for path if you know the actual exploit number, or if you're just looking for local Linux exploits and you want to look at that particular path. So yeah, you could do more with it. So definitely check the help file. I'm showing you what I use most often and what I see is more common usage for this tool, and this is just my experience. So not that I'm right, but this is, like I said, what I see most often and what I use most often. So that's what I'm going to show here. So you could see that all of these exploits that were returned are C files, so we'd have to compile these. This looks like a good candidate. Version 4.5 falls right in the middle there. So you could copy the whole path. I just do the exploit number. That's all that's required. And we're going to pass X for examine, and we're going to put that exploit number. What that's going to do is it's going to examine the exploit. It's going to open the exploit. We can see a little more information about the description, the usage, how to compile the exploit. This is a very simple, straightforward compile here, but some exploits definitely require more arguments or more options to compile. So, and you'll have some scripts that may require staging. You might need a very specific folder in a very specific location with a certain name in order for the script to execute properly. So I advise always look at these exploits before you just blindly go running them. Not to mention, I mean, we are dealing with exploits here. You don't want to just go blindly running any of this stuff. So you could damage your system. You could damage the target system. If you're doing an assessment for someone or a pen test or red teaming in your organization, you don't want to damage your stuff. You just want to, uncover vulnerabilities. So definitely look at these before you just go blindly compiling and running or running scripts. So here we can see the code, but we're gonna jump out of there. Another thing I want you to notice is now that we've jumped out, we've got the exploit title, we've got the URL. So we could jump to this exploit in the exploit DB itself. We've got So here we go. Just see, and you'll see it's the same thing. It's literally a mirror. It's our repository is what exists on exploitdb. So there's nothing different here. Just a different place to get it. So we've got the path to where the exploit exists on our local system. And I'm going to copy this because we will look at that in a second. We've got the CVE and we've got the type of source file. So the next thing I want to do, I'm going to show you there's nothing in this directory. I feel like a magician. There's nothing up my sleeve. Our current working directory here. We are going to now copy that exploit, not download, or mirror. The application calls it mirroring. So we're going to use -m instead of -x. We're no longer examining. We're going to mirror it and copy it to our current working directory. So as you can see, it's been copied. It tells you the location it was copied to. And there it is. From here, we can compile. We can pull the exploit onto the target system and compile there. You know, we have several options. So something else I want to show you. There is an automation aspect of Searchsploit, which is really pretty cool. So I am going to use nmap, and I'm going to run a service scan against a vulnerable machine that I have in my internal network. So I want to output the scan results to a file called target.xml. All right. So we're going to let that run. That's going to scan the most common ports. I always forget the number. I think it's like the 1,000 most common ports or something like that. And it's going to do a service scan. So it's going to look for service versions. Oh, that came back quick. And it's going to save that output to a target XML file. All right. And we can look at that XML file. So everything's in there. We're going to use that in a second. But first I want to show you, if we follow this path, you can see now we've got all these other directories for our exploit database repository. So we've got JSON exploits, FreeBSD exploits, iOS, Solaris, Python, you name it. So let's look at Windows local. And here's all the exploit files. So you've got Python scripts, Ruby scripts, Perl scripts, PowerShell scripts, text files and README files. You've got C files that need to be compiled. So yeah, a lot of interesting stuff here. This is the exploits broken down by number, but just want to show you where they live on your system. So this is what I meant when I said that you're not downloading them. You're pulling them from this repository into that current working directory. So, and that said, another helpful thing to do is use the U switch. So this is going to update the exploit database on in your current repository, your current repository of the exploit database. Sorry. So let's run that. I run that often just to keep it up to date. So mine probably doesn't have any updates available because I've just ran it. I think it was yesterday. So there you go. Update finished. So you can see 0 upgraded, 0 upgraded. So we're good. Don't need, there were no updates necessary on my system, but definitely advise running that. Let me exit out of here just to keep it up to date. So, all right, last but not least, I mentioned the automation, right? We ran this nmap script to get a target XML file. This is pretty cool. So we're going to use Searchsploit. Rather than look at the script results and manually search Searchsploit or the exploit database for all of the different versions of software that I find in the results, I'm going to let Searchsploit automatically sift through this XML file that nmap created and tell me what potential exploits exist from my scan results. And let me just note, this only works if you use the SV switch in nmap for getting service version information. Otherwise, Searchsploit wouldn't know the version, and it's not going to give you the results you're looking for. So I'm just going to pass tac nmap target.xml and watch what happens. It's reading that XML file. It's looking at all of the software and versions, and it's doing a search through Searchsploit for each particular one and giving me potential exploits against all of the software that nmap found on that target system. So that's pretty powerful. I mean, there's still a decent amount of information to sift through here, and there would be some human intervention. There is with all these automated tools. None of them are cut and dry. You can't really rely on any of these on their own. But yeah, with some human intervention, my job just got a lot easier. So hope you liked the video. Hope you got something out of this. If you did, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. And as always, thanks for watching.